Irene Skupski, and the title of this garment is Quilted. My mom used to tell me that life was like a quilt. All the good and bad experiences are all interwoven into one piece. Just like the people of the world, we are all quilted in this beautiful tapestry. United and together, we build a beautiful masterpiece. This piece was the culmination of collecting fabric over 5 years, both before I started my fashion design degree and the conclusion of my studies at Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. I am a sustainable, modest fashion designer focusing in bridal and formal wear. I chose this piece entitled Interwoven by Andre Rodriguez and Pat Milbury because of our interconnectedness. Even though we were separated because of COVID, we are interwoven. We're all in this together. Fashion is for everyone. It doesn't matter what your background is, your race, your ethnicity, your political or religious affiliation. You all belong here together.
My inspiration for this garment came from the idea of light after a storm. The black dress is supposed to be the storm and the pink dress is supposed to be the light after it, the hopeful and inspiring peaceful feeling that comes after a disaster. The black dress was inspired by a picture of a tornado that I saw with lightning and fire inside the funnel, and the pink dress was inspired by the fairies and just magical creatures that you see in the woods that make you feel happy. I try to design for everyday people that have a hard time finding the right size or clothes that fits them properly. As a designer, I see myself as someone that tries to find inspiration in the little things that are found in everyday life, like an animal or just a flower, and try and figure out a way to make it into something beautiful that people would want to wear.
Hi, my name is Austyn. I'm a fashion design major at RMCAD. I decided to create a design that was made from a shower curtain. This look is entitled Home. Home means so much, especially after the stay-at-home orders. I took a shower curtain and I created a dress, and on top of that I took just some red yarn and I glued it in a pattern. I wanted the pattern to kind of mimic veins because of the whole COVID-19 thing and the pandemic. I think that hit me pretty hard personally. Not only am I an essential worker, but I also had COVID. It was just an emotional response for me to do that red yarn going up the dress. As far as the headpiece goes, I wanted to create something that was really big, so I had to use these wooden dowels that went all the way out. I did that because it's the black picture frames the time. And then on top of that headpiece, I did a home, because I think lately all of us need to carry our home and this sense of security on top of our heads at all time. Things are just so uncertain, and that's one of the only things that make you feel comfortable is being home. I think that there's light at the end of the tunnel with carrying that house and carrying that with you. I really just wanted to encompass the way that people are feeling, which turned out pretty dark, but I think really flowy and, I don't know, kind of fun.
zeitgeist is off the charts insane right now with the pandemic, with the social injustice and the protests and the politics of the day. It's just all insane. As someone who has been sick for a few days and has barely been out of bed, not able to function, that's made it really hard for me. I was even COVID tested this week. That's why you should never procrastinate, because you never know when you're going to be knocked down and not be able to complete things. I was inspired by DNA. I love the shape of the double helix. It's really just fascinating the way everything intertwines. And when you think about it, all humans are genetically 99.9% the same. There's so much that we have in common. So why are we treated so differently, and why do we have such hate and vitriol for each other? Part of what made this design so challenging for me was that I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I wanted to take the harder route because I think that speaks more to the design and to what's going on in the world right now. Nothing is easy. The chains represent the shackles of oppression and the way people have been held down for years and trying to fight and strain against it. They also represent that we're all linked together. We look at the bigger picture and what's inside. There's so much that we can celebrate and we can come together on, and we don't have to deal with our differences. We can accept our similarities and hopefully learn to love each other better.
My name is Denise Subizarreta. Everyone calls me the Vamp Deville, and the name of my garment is La Hija de la Diáspora. Diaspora is when you take an entire culture from their space and move them to another space to assimilate them to a new culture. There's a few pieces to the garment that brought upon my inspiration. First would be the angel Uriel. He's said to come right before the apocalypse, ask everyone to repent so that he can take them to heaven. He is this wrath of God, but the opening of change. We see white constantly being the angelic, the truth, the purity, black being this demonic, this dark thing. I wanted to take that and kind of flip it in another way. This can be a moment of awakening, and it doesn't need to be washed through the eyes of the white culture that we've seen in the depiction of angels. When we look at God, when we look at religion, when we look at each other as just human beings together. The construction of the garment, I would say, is more of a stylist kind of job, I think, in that sense. So I did buy a cage underneath, and it's just wraps around. It's got different sections, and the tulle itself is knotted onto parts of this cage and just spread out. There's pieces that I've had from before, like this is a bathing suit I have. This is already a chest piece I have. I figured, how can I put something together that would still be impactful and kind of hide all of the flaws? As visual artists, we must look to the future with solution-oriented eyes and pens filled to the brim with activism.